daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the Onocoffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and we are here 10 a.m. Eastern, most Monday through Fridays. And how's it going? We're back again, and we're here in Columbia, Maryland. As you can see, we're along the waterfront here. I just delivered some coffee to, I just delivered coffee to the food market. And I thought, oh, Mom, good morning to you, man. How are you doing today? So I delivered coffee to the food market, and now we're on the way to check out a place called Boxcar Coffee. We tried to go there last week, but Boxcar was not there. It's a Boxcar, evidently, from what I've seen, is a mobile trailer operation where the guy is not in a trailer, not an enclosed trailer like you see food trucks or food trailers, but it's kind of like a camping trailer where the guy's outside. I was like, it's cold. And today right now it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit here in Maryland, which is what, -2 in Celsius, I think. Naomi, good morning. Dewan, how are you? Dan, good to see you. Kent, hello. So we're going to try to go back to this place and see if the gentleman is there at Boxcar. We're only a couple moments away. Hopefully we won't have to resort to a secondary option. But I kind of have a secondary option just in case we're stuck. Just in case we're stuck. I found a cafe that's in a hotel here, but I'm a little bit hesitant to go to that one because they're serving lavazza, and it's like, well, do you want lavazza? Is that going to be worth visiting? But I don't know. I think there's something about. I hope he's there too. But Naomi, I think that by the way, Naomi, your coffee is at the food market now, so you can pick it up at any time. And for the rest of you who've ordered coffee in the last couple days, your coffee is down there, or some of it is right there. And one thing to be careful about, I bring coffee to our wholesale customers in these 5-gallon containers, buckets. They hold 15 pounds of coffee maximum. And as I was driving out here, I had a bunch more because I left a bunch there. I was like, again, I'm driving, and I'm like, oh man, I'm having a hard time breathing, right? Hard time getting inhalations. And then I realized that, this is coffee that's pretty fresh, so it's still off gassing the carbon dioxide. And so I'm like, I'm actually choking. I gotta remember to vent the windows a little bit more. All right, so we're turning right on Thunderhill Road off of 175. Here is the Walgreens, like we did last time, the Walgreens. We're gonna make a right turn here at Twin Knolls Road, and we're gonna see if we can find our man. Oh, there he is. That's him. I think that's him. All right, there he is. We're gonna get some coffee. I hope it takes cash. All right, excellent. There it is. This is the coffee guy, Boxcar Coffee. Look at this guy. He's playing drums. I don't know what he's doing, but he's playing drums. All right, excellent. He's here. Let me park. My parka. I need to get my hat. Anton, good afternoon to you, man. How are you doing? We have arrived. Okay, let's go. Nice. Hey, man.
What's up?
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Do you mind if I'm actually doing a little bit of a live stream? Do you mind if I?
No.
Okay, very good.
My whole drum session.
We didn't miss it. So how's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Excellent. So I came for some coffee.
Okay.
What should we have?
What do you want?
I'm open to whatever you like.
Do you like milk or you don't like milk? You want
What do you think I should have on this cold day?
Something warm.
Right.
You like chocolate?
Sure, I'm open to anything. I'm literally open to anything.
Let's do like a tuxedo. It'll be white chocolate, dark chocolate, and then we'll basically just throw a latte on top of it and mix it all up.
Excellent.
You want to do that?
Excellent. Right. Thank you. All right, so we're here at the Boxcar. Yes, he's got a Lamarzoco Linea Mini, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Linea Mini and the X54?
It is a E65.
E65, okay.
Yeah, grind by weight.
Oh, you got the grind by there's that's what we were talking about yesterday. The grind by weight. There it is. That sexiness right there.
You want me to cut the music?
Nah, it doesn't matter. I appreciate that. I appreciate you asking though.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do have a question for you.
Yeah. What am I doing out here in the cold?
Yeah, man. What kind of craziness is this? Like, why?
I was just thinking. I was like, was I in some past life and I was like a bad person or something?
I don't-
That's how I punish myself. I ask myself every morning, but it's I don't know. It's I love coffee and I love the community. It's really cool to see people come out even when it's miserable for them.
Yeah.
I'm dressed for it for the most part.
Okay. Yeah, I see Patagonia, Carhartt. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Definitely.
Excellent.
But it's good. I mean, this wouldn't happen if I stayed in bed.
That's
This
true.
interaction,
That's true.
So all that kind of stuff is really cool.
This is much more interesting to be outside in the cold.
Yeah.
I think.
Plus, at some point, if I get my brick and mortar shop,
Right.
I'll always remember days like today. Where
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay, appreciate the heat. Appreciate, you know. And when the heat goes out or the AC stops working, I can be like, it's not as bad as it, you know.
So how long have you been open? A year? Is that right?
Probably 6 months.
Oh, 6 months, okay.
I built this whole thing, so I built it pretty much through last winter.
Okay.
And finished up in the middle, or I got really started through all my permitting and all that stuff in the middle of summer.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I started here, because the shade was pretty good throughout the day.
Oh,
so this spot,
gotcha.
A lot of people are like, why are you here? There's a number of different things, but
Right.
that's kind of why I was here. So I tried to sort of like build up this spot. And it's
Awesome.
pretty good. My little,
Is this a British
home base.
trailer? Is that right?
what's that?
Where is the trailer from?
It's based off just like a teardrop camper.
Okay,
style.
okay,
But
okay.
this is all, I built the whole thing from
Oh, you
scratch.
built the whole trailer.
Yeah,
Wow.
Even the actual trailer underneath of it. So.
Oh, so you welded it all together and everything?
Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. It was a pretty cool project. There's definitely one where I wasn't working in order to build it, so that kind of had a little fire underneath me to be like,
Right.
hurry up, you need
Yeah.
to make money again.
So how did you learn the coffee arts?
Long ago, I was in tech, so I had a coworker that we did like a work from home thing, and he had
Okay.
a nice espresso machine, so let me make you like a good coffee. And he did, and got me hooked. And eventually, he said he was looking for a new machine, so I said, what are you doing with the one you have? So he cut me a deal on it, so that kind of got me down a million different internet rabbit holes of doing like the home barista thing, but really
Right.
just like really getting specific on things and going down multiple machines and
Oh, awesome. So you come from the home
techniques and
enthusiast
stuff.
world.
For sure.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
What was that first machine?
First machine, it was Isomac Millennium, I think.
Okay.
So a nice little stainless machine, single boiler, but a pretty good machine, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Oh, excellent. All right. Let's see if there's... Anton wants to know what temps you got. Well, it's 27 degrees, which I think is what, -2 Celsius, I think, here.
that sounds about right.
And Anton, it is a mini. It is a Linea
That's
Mini.
correct, yeah.
Not the Micra.
And I think they have like a updated version. This is probably before that, so this is probably
Okay.
like a 2020.
2020.
Something around there, yeah. I'm hoping they updated some annoying things like plumbing it in and changing the pressure and stuff. They have to take everything off.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
So where do you want to open a shop, like a brick and mortar, if you do?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've definitely been meeting the whole community here, and I really like everybody here, and everybody's saying like, hey, we need, like, coffee in Colombia kind of needs something different. But at the same time, rent around here is insane.
Yes.
And it's also like, how close are you to the Dunkin' or the Starbucks, and are you allowed to do that based on different
their
underwriting
contracts.
stuff? So
Right.
who knows?
And so who does your coffee?
I do some like micro roasting by myself.
Okay.
I also, most of my beans that I serve to customers, running through the espresso machine are coming from one new coffee roaster.
Oh, of course.
Baltimore.
Yeah, of course.
So we have a really good, I reached out to a couple different places that I really liked, their mission and everything, and they were really supportive early on in helping me out. And so it's really cool to see like someone who I really respect, and they have a beautiful cafe, really nice people.
Yes,
and they
absolutely.
didn't know me and were still like, we would love to help you. Let us know what we can do.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they're
that's-
wonderful people. Wonderful
Absolutely,
people.
yeah, super cool people. So that's definitely been another cool thing to just be like, hey, obviously we're not competing, but for them to still reach out to help, you know,
Yeah,
another
absolutely.
person in their space is just cool.
Yeah. So since you came up from the enthusiast ranks,
Yeah.
what who are your big who are your big like inspirations in coffee,
In coffee?
or in the YouTube world or
You know,
whatever?
I just bounce around. I
Okay.
like seeing everybody. So when it comes to pour over stuff, I lean toward more of like the Japanese pour over cafes. But then I like Lance Hedrick and, you know,
Okay.
I like James Hoffman if I want to like go to sleep. You know what I mean? He's just got that voice that puts me to sleep. But he's also, you know,
I guess that's why they call him Daddy Hoff.
Yeah. And his sweaters too. I'm just like, I can't.
Oh, swear.
His sweater game's next level.
That's funny. That's funny. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So where are you coming out of?
I'm actually from Baltimore, up north in Cockeysville.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Actually, I do videos on YouTube about coffee,
Gotcha.
and I own a company called Spro.
Bro, very
Yeah, so
cool. Is it a coffee? I'm assuming a coffee company.
that's correct. That's correct. We used to have a location in Hamden. Now we're based out of Cockeysville, and we do a lot of wholesale and consulting. Actually, I know the guys from One Do because I did consulting for them over the
very cool.
years.
So wholesale. So are you roasting?
I do.
Oh,
Yes.
very cool. One roaster, multiple roasters.
We have. I guess I have access to 3 roasters at the moment.
Cool.
We use a Petroncini 3 kilo, what is it now? The Gießen W6A, and we just got a new Royal number 5.
Very cool.
Old, but new that's old.
Yeah, gotcha.
Look at that. Lovely, man. Lovely.
It's harder with frozen fingers, but sometimes it works. Sometimes it's a blob, and I just throw a cap on real fast.
I'm wondering how you do, because my hands right now were pretty crampy.
Yeah. I have actually like a battery vest I'm trying out
nice.
today, which is pretty cool, but also weird.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. How much owe you for this?
This one's on the house, man.
Oh, you don't have to do that, man.
It's less typing I have to do.
That's very kind, man. That's very kind.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice. What's your name?
Dan.
Dan, I'm Jay.
Jay,
Pleasure,
good to
man.
meet you.
Pleasure. All right,
Feel free to hang out, but if you want to go into your
I'm gonna go sit in the car. I'm not that tough.
Yeah. Well, how can I get in contact with you?
Onocoffee.
Onocoffee?
That's my channel on YouTube,
Yeah.
and Onocoffee on
Okay, very cool.
Instagram. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, send me a link.
On Instagram.
Cool. Yeah, it'd be good to just chat and everything.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely connect.
Awesome.
All right, Dan. Thanks, man.
Great to meet
Appreciate it.
you. Yeah. Have a great day.
You too. All right. Now it is. My hands are really like my hands are. My left hand that I'm holding the camera with is so bitterly frozen that it's got piercing. It's like needles. Oh, good Lord. All right. Oh, man. I think I'm going to have to put my hand on this cup because it is. This cat, man, he is like out here in the frigid weather. Much props to you, Dan. Thank you. And thank you, Dan, for this lovely cup. I'm very excited to try it. Just gotta be. And it's gotta be hot. Oh, gotta be hot. Maybe he's into kissing them. Yeah, I was wondering. I don't know. I wonder, like, this is maybe something that we can ask him next time. But yeah, because I was thinking, like, I would have thought Kisaten, but then again, when I think about, like, and I'm making presumptions, right? I'm going to make some presumptions, and I could be totally wrong. Let me turn the engine back on. And but let's have a quick look before we drive away. But there's Dan sitting outside with his Carhartt coveralls. I gotta say, man, I totally understand. Last week when it came by, he wasn't here. I totally understand because, man, it was also bitterly cold. And I was like, man, you gotta be crazy. Oh, goodness. All right, now we've got it. I'm gonna pull away, and I'm gonna pull it. Actually, I'm just going to the Walgreens because I always feel self-conscious. But he was very nice, and very nice. Thank you, Dan, for the cup. I really do appreciate that. But let's go park here in the sun. That way, hopefully, will help with. And then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm wearing this big Carhartt jacket. Let me take it off and be a little more svelty. Actually, now that I think about it, he was wearing Carhartt overalls. I got a Carhartt jacket, and he was wearing Patagonia he was wearing Patagonia shell of that Patagonia baby. So, all right, let's see here. Game new friend, yeah, he's a nice guy, man, really nice guy. And you know, like I don't normally disclose that I'm in the coffee business because I don't want people to think that I'm judging people. Well, I guess we are, but you know, but it's not meant to be a critical, like we're hating on you kind of judging. It's just, you know, we're just having coffee and just want to, you know, talk about it. But it's really nice to see that he buys coffee from One Do. One Do is a coffee roaster here in Baltimore, down in the Campton neighborhood, and a really great Korean couple, Korean American couple, and I've known them since they started, and they were really nice. And a few years ago, they asked me if they needed some help with some training for their staff, and so I was happy to come down for a few days and do some coffee training with coffee history and things like that with them. That's actually the shop where I learned that I don't like the Stag kettle, because we were doing cuppings there and trying to pour with that Stag kettle. Like, I like to pour pretty hard, and it was not pouring hard enough. And I was like, okay, so yeah, Ken, he's a great guy, Put that guy's hood inside out. Daniel Garcia, how are you, man? And then Asian Dev's asking, what temp is it over there? It is about in the 20s, about 24 to 27 degrees, so about -4 to -2 Celsius. I think that's what it is. But we were talking about the Kisa. Maybe he's a Kisa 10. I was thinking, you know, he might be, but because he mentioned that, you know, because he's in specialty and because he is, you know, following a lot of the online guys, or had been influenced by our guy. My presumption, which could be totally wrong, is that he probably is more into the more modern pour-over cafes of Japan, less the Kisa-ten style, and more of like the Unlimited, the Passenger, Kitsune, who are the other ones? Onibus. A lot of the newer darling kind of cafes that have opened over the last 15, 20 years that are following more of a Nordic approach to the coffee scene. So I would presume that is what he's talking. I'm presuming that's what he's talking about. And what is Japanese pour-over? I think that's it. Like, there's a modern generation of like cafes that I've been to in Tokyo. Like I said, Kitsune, Unlimited. Unlimited is actually owned by a friend of mine, and but Passenger, Onibus. These are all newer cafes that follow the specialty coffee world. More, again, with more in the Nordic style, a lot of that lighter roasted coffees, the new school. And to be honest, I've been to a lot of them, because a lot of times when I'm there, my friends will, either my friend owns the place, or some of my friends that I'm with, maybe they want to go check it out. So I've been to a few of them. Like, there's this one, anyway, I can't remember the name, but they're cool. But however, from my perspective, being in coffee, I'm not so interested to go to those places, mainly because they occupy the same world that I occupy. You know, this kind of specialty coffee world, where when I'm in Japan, to me, the really interesting coffee scene there is the old school, the Kisa-ten world, the world of coffee that we don't have available to us here. that's what I'm, and so I end up nowadays when I'm traveling, I end up trying to try to find, well, we will go to like specialty coffee cafes. I do try to go to more of the, whatever the quote unquote indigenous cafe scene is like, because I think that's just fascinating. And I'm also curious to know, like, what kind of things are these old school guys doing that maybe we can import into our world to improve what we do. Right? Anton says you got to talk more at some point. So much untapped potential, so many questions answered. You met at the right time and the well, it's not like we can't go back. So if you have questions, let me know. We can always go back and, well, not right now, but in future visits. Like, you don't want, plus you don't want to like go and hammer on a guy, like, hey, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Tell us about like all of this. So I tried to pick on like some key factors that maybe might be interesting to know about. But I also think what's really interesting is that Dan comes from the home enthusiast world. So like many of our viewers, like many of you guys, he comes from a world where he started, as I said, he worked in IT, and then his friend was into coffee and got him and just sucked him into the coffee world, and he got a machine because his friend was getting a new one, and then eventually he found his way to standing outside in 20-degree weather. Which is a great example of, coffee. If you want to make $1 million in coffee, start off with $2 million. So I just stick my hands in my cup, but the problem is that I gotta hold the cup. I gotta hold the camera. So this hand was exposed. Oh man, it was rough. Anton says we got dance fog all day here. Dance fog all day here. Cycle to work at 5:50 a.m. What is with you guys in Europe, man, with the cycling? Like, come to America, drive a car. For God's sake, it's freezing outside. And I couldn't see past 10 meters, man. Like one of my good friends, he's in Frankfurt, right? He owns a company called Backyard Coffee. And Wolfram, and I was out there one year, and we were hanging out, and he's driving. And I remember, because he's talking about 10 meters, and I was like, we're driving, man, and he comes from, he's another coffee guy, comes from the IT world, right? Made solid money in IT and opened a coffee business. And he's like, we're flying in this car, like we're flying on this roadway. And I mean, it's like in your case today, kind of dense fog. And he's like, don't worry. And we're doing like 230 kilometers an hour. And I'm like, freaked the heck out, right? I'm like freaked completely. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm from America. We don't drive that fast. You're like, we can't drive that fast. Like driving that fast here is like recklessly dangerous. And here's why. Because, in Germany, if you're like flying on the roadway, like you're in the left lane and you're going at a very high rate of speed, 100 miles an hour, 130 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour, the Germans are so disciplined and they face such heavy penalties that if nobody drifts to the left lane, if you're only the left if you're going forward, right? Everybody else is to the right. Here in America, man, the problem here in America is that we love freedom, right? We do whatever we want. So that means that you could be rolling along in the left lane, and here's that dude going 80 clicks in the far right lane, and he's just gonna come over and stay at 80 kilometers. You're like, what the? It's crazy here, man, and dangerous. Okay, so let's have a look at I'm babbling. We should be looking at the coffee. He did a really beautiful pour, and the pour has been totally damaged because I'm babbling on about nonsense. But when he poured it, it was really pretty, and I know you guys saw that. But so it has, the foam has loosened up. Not a big deal. It's a little bit cooler now. Oh, that's right. This is the tuxedo. I had totally forgotten that whole part. And I think when I saw the bottles, I think he's using Ghirardelli chocolate from San Francisco. So very nice. A little bit on the sweeter side. So I think remember what I'm saying is that regular like milk chocolate, or was it dark chocolate? Tastes kind of like darky chocolate. So it tastes heavier on the chocolate. So I'm presuming it's gonna be a darker chocolate syrup with a white chocolate syrup, milk, and coffee. And one of the things that I like about going to cafes like this is, and I try to be friendly about it, but really I'm interested in what you like. And so that's why I was kind of like, whatever you want to make, man. I'm game for whatever comes my way. Whatever you suggest, I'm gonna try, because you know what? You're the barista, and especially in this case, it's your place. You know your product better than I do. Guide me, and I'm happy to try anything. And you know what? Here it is again. We've got nice quality coffee underneath. Like you can taste that nice balance of coffee to milk to even to the sweetness of the different chocolates. It's well balanced. A little bit sweet, not the heavy sweet, right? Like remember we went to Einstein Brothers at one time for that whatever, that really difficult tasting coffee. That was very sweet. This is a nice sweetness to it. It's not heavy on the sweetness. It's nicely balanced. So he did a really good job. I think it's really great. Naomi says a Nordic approach. Yeah, they I think most modern specialty coffee shops really are kind of gravitating towards the Nordic style. They like that lighter roast, brighter coffees. Asian Dev says, been to Glitch Coffee. Glitch, that's the one that I've been to. That's another one I've been to. Glitch Coffee in Ginza. Oh, they opened the one in Ginza. I didn't know that. Waited an hour in line. Coffee was good, though. As you said, more Nordic style. They had Diego Bermudez beans. Yeah. I mean, then that's, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, it's what they do. And I think they do, like, places like Glitch and Unlimited, they do a very good job at it. But I'm just like, if I'm traveling, in my case, if I'm traveling to the other side of the planet, I don't really want to get what I can get at home or, here in America. Like I can get beautiful coffees here in America if I really want those like light roasted kind of things and that light roasted experience. So to travel, I want to see something a little bit different, right? A little bit interesting, or what I think is interesting. I mean, and of course now, mind you that, a lot of people don't think like I do. Like I'm the crazy person in the group, right? Because like I want to try something different. But most people, they want to have coffee when they're traveling. And they want something that's going to be familiar to them. That's something that they're going to be relatable, that they're going to find relatable. And if you're really into the specialty coffee world and you're traveling to Japan and you're maybe not really a coffee person trying to figure out like what else the world has to offer, then man, going to places like Glitch is like a whole, or Onibus, or all the places are awesome. Like there's is it Onibus? There's an Onibus location in not too far from the Shibuya station. So basically, if you go out of Shibuya station, from the JR Shibuya station, where they have the Hachiko statue, and instead of going straight across the scramble to whatever is up there and to my favorite tonkatsu place, you hook a left and go under the overpass and down the street. Evidently, there's a place that Onibus has that is this window that I've always been fascinated with. It's a really tiny place, but the reality is I've just never had the chance, or I've never had the extra time to go there to visit. But next time, maybe I'll go check that out. Anton says, our public transport is so insufferable. I would rather crouch all the... Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry. I thought you guys would have better transportation in Germany. And cars suck because of traffic. Oh, I get it. I know, I get it. I totally understand. Please ask, when you order coffee, do you choose the type of coffee? No, well, in these kind of cases, especially when I'm visiting new places and I'm interested in experiencing the coffee shop or the coffee business, the coffee experience there, I'd rather let the barista decide. And the reason is because I have a proclivity to choose what I'm familiar with, what I'm comfortable with, what I'm used to. I'm just like most people, right? Like I'm always, and I think a lot of our choices are driven by not necessarily truly an interest in finding the best, but more of an interest in not getting the worst, right? So we want to protect ourselves from getting the worst. So what would I order? I would probably order cappuccino or mocha or latte or brewed coffee, just something safe. But that's why when I go to places, I ask the barista, hey, what do you like? And then a lot of times most baristas will be like, well, this is what's popular. I'm like, I'm not, and I hope I try to not come off like harsh on it, but I'm like, I don't want to know I'm not interested in what's popular. I'm interested in what you, the barista, likes, right? Because my thinking is that you're the barista, you've been here for however long you've been here, you should know the coffee menu at your place better than anyone else. Certainly better than me, the first time visitor. You tell me what I'm going to drink. And that's the thing of it. And I realize that this is difficult because even when I have people that come to me and ask this at our cafes, it's like it's difficult for me to give that answer straight away because you want to make sure that you know our like for example, if we have, let's say, I don't know, peanut butter latte, and I give that to you and you have a peanut allergy, well, I just killed you. So that would not be a good way to go. Or do you have certain in my particular case, I have no allergies that I'm concerned about. I have nothing, I have no and I have no restrictions on what I'll try. So I'll try whatever you put. So that's really why I like to ask what they like. Now, depending where I'm going, it does kind of, it is tempered by my ability to communicate that fact. So meaning that if I'm in other countries and I have to engage with the barista in a non-English format, that becomes very interesting. Then it's like, then I have to order something, figure it out. Naomi says, I asked him which coffee he was most proud of, and he said none, because he doesn't make his own syrups. Oh, interesting. Well, Dan, if you happen to watch this, it's not too difficult to make your own syrups. I know you don't really have the facilities for it, but you might consider. I mean, we at Spro, we always made our own syrups, everything, which is one thing when I'm participating in some of the online coffee shop owners forums. And this is where I have to temper myself, right? It's like, people ask what I think are relatively pedestrian questions, what's the best syrup? Well, the best syrup is really the one that you like. Are you not tasting the syrups that you're using, or the syrups you're considering? You can, and I know a lot of people come from non-food service oriented careers. But in many respects, you can call up a lot of these companies and be like, hey, could you send me a sample? And they'll send you a small sample of whatever flavors you're interested in so you can get a taste for their product and determine whether or not it's good for you. But I think, a lot of people, of course I understand, you're starting a business and you may not come from the food world. You may not even be necessarily a coffee person. So there's so much that you have to learn, and it's overwhelming. How do you figure it all out? And, you either have to be crazy and stupid like I am and just be like, we're going to make everything in-house because it's better that way. It's crazier that way. I don't recommend it. I like it when people do it, but I don't recommend it, right? Naomi says, I'm going to try his matcha espresso latte next. Oh, that sounds good. Let us know how that turns out. Kent says the Nordic style is kind of changing here in Scandinavia. Quite a few roasters now do more developed roasts. Oh, yeah. It makes sense because, everybody has to evolve, right? Everybody evolves and they change. And I think it's one of those things where, maybe it comes with the youth or early experience in something. You want something that's different and bold and this is our mark. This is where we stand. We have this is our flag and we're planting it here. And maybe that's part of it, the hubris of being young. And I don't necessarily mean young as in age, although that it could be part of it, but more young in a craft, right? You're young. We've talked about this before. You learn a little bit about the craft. You learn. You start off and you're totally green, and you're you have no idea what's going on. And then you learn a little bit, and then you learn just enough to give you false confidence, and you're totally arrogant about what you know. You're and then you start to make prognostications and absolutisms about whatever craft it is. And of course, the old cats in the business have been doing this for years are all oh God, here we go again. So I think that maybe with some of this Nordic style comes with that youthfulness of being in the industry. And as you learn about coffee more, you learn about tasting coffee more, and your palate develops, you start to realize that maybe it's not all about brightness and sharpness and acidity. Maybe there needs to be some more development. And maybe that's what people are going through now. And that's good. It's always good to have that level of exploration. I think it's really important to have that. Anton says, if I wanted to be punctual at work, I would have to take 2 buses early, oh gosh, and probably wake up at least half an hour later. No matter where you go in the city, bicycles always, that's good. Well, here's the one thing about bicycle that I probably should have done is I bet you are a trim, fit man. right? Look at me. I'm in a car. I'm driving all over the United States in America. This is how we live. And I'm a chubby, fat guy. There's a reason why their obesity is pretty rampant in the United States. Because you know what? We like eat poorly. We have a poor food supply chain. We eat poorly. We're fed poorly. We live poorly. Like we live well. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we think we live well. Like, we live like kings in this country. We also pay the king's ransom to live in this country. Don't get me wrong. But like, you know, everybody's chubby here, man, because everybody's like sitting around. It's terrible. So it's much better to be biking. Much better. Dev says, I'm thankful I found some coffee shops in Japan. The smaller shops I found also roast their own coffee. In my opinion, it's a better experience than coffee memes, coffee mamea, and glitch. Well, I don't know. I mean, coffee mamea is, I think, pretty dope. Like, I mean, the coffee at mamea is pretty much like the glitch style coffee, right? But I love the experience going there, like that whole. And I don't know if you went. I don't know if you've been there in the old days when they first built it and when the house. So the house that they're in Omotesando is actually the second house that they had in that location. When they first opened, it was a little tiny place built on the side of some other dude's house, and then the guy like sold it or something, and they rebuilt everything. They rebuilt the house. They rebuilt the shop. And it's really pretty today, but I just remember going to the original one. It was like so much fun. Not to say the new one isn't fun. And then they opened so much more. But every time that they do a place, like even though the coffee is, you know, that Nordic kind of influence coffee, they're so stylish. Like I have this video somewhere. I got to look for it. But I remember when they had a place called Toranomon Coffee in the Toranomon Hills Tower. And Toranomon is the district next to Shimbashi, which is next to Ginza. So if Ginza is here, right, from your perspective, Ginza is here on the east side of Tokyo, right? Ginza is here. Shimbashi is like right below it, and then Toranomon is next to it. And so the Toranomon Hills is a tower, office tower, and Coffee Mamea opened a place called Toranomon Coffee there, and it was gorgeous. And they had, but my favorite thing about that place was they would serve the toast, the shokupan toast, the toast bread with butter, and they had this like to-go container that it was like origami, right? It totally opened up, right? It was just this cube. Then you opened it up, and then it folded out into like a flat, like wax-lined eating surface. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was like, I like would go there just to buy the toast and take the box home. I was like, I'm taking this box home with me. I actually had the box on display at the Roastery Cafe for many years. Which means I must have it in a box somewhere. I will find it one day and show you guys. Asian Dev says that what's interesting I noticed is that popular hipster coffee spots in Asia are always in extremes. Both in Japan and Seoul, either super Nordic or super Italian dark with brown sugar. Oh, interesting. You know, the place that I want to go to in Seoul is owned by a good friend of mine, In Young Song. In Young I've known for many, many years, and she's like a wonderful person, but amazing coffee person too. She opened a place in the last couple of years called Gimisa, Gimisa, Gimisa Songsu, in the Songsu district of Seoul. I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably more that Nordic style of roasting, but man, you see the pictures and I'm like, gosh, this is a gorgeous place. Like, I want to fly there just to go to her shop. Like, that's my plan. It's like, if next time I go to Japan, I'm going to Seoul just to visit her shop. And that's not unusual. Like, if I'm in Japan, I'll go to Seoul. Like, the one year I was there, when I first found out about that place called Green, the 2D cafe, the one that looks like a cartoon, like it looks like you're in an AHA video. And I was like, oh my gosh. So the next time I was in Japan, I was like, I gotta go check this place out. So I called up Minyoung. I was like, I'm coming to Japan. I'm coming to Seoul for like a day. So we went to Green, and then she took me to another place there called Onion. And Onion is awesome. Like, kind of like that, newer generation of like coffee style, but it's more of a bakery and coffee. But the crazy thing about Onion, at least this one particular location of Onion, is like, if you can imagine that old school, like Korean, like, the Japanese have these old school houses that have all the ceramic tile. Koreans have something very similar to that. They took this huge house, this compound, that was like that old school, and they refurbished it. But what they did, they glassed it in. So it's like, it's all open air, like, I don't know, it's like timber and like mud, but they glassed it in and conditioned it all. So it's air conditioned in the summer and heated in the winter. And it is unbelievably gorgeous. I was like, holy God, this place is amazing. Like, so go there. 2 places to go to in Seoul, Gimisa and Seongsu, and this one Onion place. Amazing, and so amazing. Just for the physical location alone, you're like, holy God, this is great. Please says, have you heard about the Ethiopians' way of making coffee? It's a whole ceremony. Their Arabica coffee is more light and fruity. Yes. So the light and fruitiness from their coffee, in that, especially for the Ethiopian coffee ceremony, is from the natural processed coffees that they have there. So the natural processed coffees, if you're unfamiliar with the natural processed coffees, coffee, of course, is a fruit that comes in a cherry. There's usually 2 beans and 1 cherry, and the 2 beans that are inside are enclosed with this big husk. And if you wait until it ripens fully till it get red and crimson, and then you harvest it, you get the best quality fruit. So in what they do in Ethiopia, because it's a very arid country in the middle of Africa, or Eastern Africa, and they don't have a lot of water, what they'll do is they'll do a natural processing, which means that they harvest the beans, and then they let them dry out in the sun. Sun drying takes up to 21 days to fully dry, from it to come down to whatever, 40% moisture content, all the way down to 10% moisture content. Takes anywhere from 2 weeks to 21 days, more or less, the conditions and how much raking you do. And by drying it that way, and then you dry mill the hull off of it, there's a little bit of fruitiness that's imparted from the mucilage. That there's a fruity layer inside. Think of it like a grape, right? Like a seeded grape. You've got a thick hull. Then you've got like a very, very thin layer of this, what we call mucilage, that is kind of like a grapey texture, but it's really, really thin. It's not like a grape where it's thick, like you think a grape, but the grape has a big pulpy center with a very thin skin, and then like teeny tiny seeds. Coffee is very similar, but the seed relatively is huge, and the hull is super thick. We think of like an orange rind kind of thickness on that, and that's kind of the general idea, right? But when you let all that dry together, that fruitiness from the mucilage gets imparted to the coffee. Wash coffee is completely different, and wash coffees evolved more in like Central America, where they have a lot of water. So they actually, after they harvest the coffee, they run it through a huller, which separates the beans from the hull, the husk, and then they put that into a water bath. This is why it's called wet process or wash process. And they leave it in the water bath for 16 to 24 hours, depending on temperature. And in that water bath, the mucilage that's still on the beans is fermented away. The yeasts eat the sweetness of the mucilage and gets rid of it, which is why you don't get those typically fruity flavors in wash coffee, right? Because the mucilage is gone that you're drying on there. Now, pulp natural and then the subsequent honeys are all kind of like in between, right? But we won't go into that. But if you're not familiar with the Ethiopian coffee ceremony, the Ethiopian coffee ceremony is one that's steeped in their history. But the basic, what they do, they take the coffee and they have this little like iron pan, and they roast the coffee over fire. And then once it gets nice and dark, typically they roast it relatively dark, right? Then they put it into another little tray, like a wooden tray to cool it. They use it for cooling, so it cools down, and then they grind it. Sometimes they use mortar and pestle, sometimes they use a grinder. Well, modern times they usually use a grinder. And then what they do is they take all that and they put it into this black pot, clay pot that that's shaped like this, right? It's really bulbous here, and then it comes tapered really thin. And there's usually like a wooden like stop here. There's a handle on it. I used to think of I was thinking of the name before I started talking about it, and now I can't remember. Now I want to say injera, which is the bread that they use, the sour bread. That's not the same thing, but I can't remember the name. But they put that, then they put that on the fire. They put the water in there, add the coffee, put that on the fire, and then it boils. So basically, you're kind of doing this cowboy coffee style of brewing. And then meanwhile, they're also making popcorn. I don't know how popcorn became part of this, but you make popcorn over the fire as well. And then once that's all brewed, you then have these little teeny tiny cups, right? Like they're kind of like fluted espresso cups with no handles. And women normally do this because men are not responsible enough to do this kind of thing, to carry tradition, right? We're just good for hunting and gathering, but tradition must be, finesse is for the woman, brutality is for the man, right? And so they pour them into these little cups, and then you drink. It's very nice. It's very nice. A lot of times, some some Ethiopian restaurants will do that. They'll maybe have an event where they'll do the Ethiopian coffee ceremony. If you have the chance to go, it's very, very nice to go and try and check it out. And it's not necessarily for the quality of the coffee, I would say. I mean, although it can be very nice, but it's really more about the experience, the whole communing with other people and enjoying the culture of Ethiopia. And especially if you're in this area, DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. In Washington, D.C., there's huge Ethiopian population. So I'm sure there's more of that happening around here. I have not plugged myself into that. So, but if you can try it, it's really good. Dev says, I recently went to Mamiya. It was a good experience, but I felt rushed. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Like, you're talking about the one in Omotesando, the one in the house? Yeah, if they're really busy, then maybe. But I do like, in my experience, I have never really been there at very busy times. So they've always been able to take a little bit of extra care when I visited. So, yeah, unfortunately, that sometimes could be a case because, they are very popular. They're very, very popular. But another place, if you're in Japan, if you go to Japan and you want to try something different and you're interested in teas, like green teas and matchas, there's a place also in the Omotesando Aoyama area called the Sakurai Tea Experience. Excellent. Go there. It's an excellent time. Excellent time. You have to make reservations because it's pretty busy. But it's gorgeous. If you look it up online, you'll see pictures of it. Man, it's awesome. Like you go there and these guys are like all like tea people. You're like, oh, I need to do that. Another tea place that you want to check out if you're in Ginza, there's a place called, I think it's called Ippudo. I know Ippudo is also a ramen joint, but Ippudo is a place, is a pretty well-renowned matcha house from Kyoto, and they open up a Ginza location. You go there and you can get this one matcha tea that's like super viscous, super thick. It's just like you're drinking like almost a paste, and it's just like I'm actually not a matcha. I'm not crazy for matcha. Like the bitterness is not really my thing, but I want to explore it as much as I can. But it's really a whole different way of experiencing matcha. You should definitely, if you're interested in matcha, you have an interest in it, you should definitely go try it. Ippudo in Ginza, or Ippudo in Kyoto if you're down in Kyoto. Am I catching? Did I missing anything? Asian Dev says Koreans take everything very seriously, including quality. Yes, they're very serious. Those guys are very serious. I was surprised every spot I visited. Every shop had a case vendor. Yeah. One thing about Korea that I noticed, and I remember like before I went to Korea in modern times, my friends would always be like, man, they would say like, in Korea, man, Seoul, they're so crazy about coffee. There's a coffee shop on every corner. It's like, people talk about things like that. You think that it's kind of hyperbole. Like, you're like, well, okay, sure, I'm sure it's popular. And then I went, oh my gosh, it's not just every corner, it's like every half block and on every corner. You're like, well, these people are crazy. And I don't know how you make that kind of, I don't know how you make enough money to operate when there's so much competition and the shops are so small. I was like, oh my gosh. Marco says, do you know if there are any foods or general usage of the fruit of the coffee rather than the bean? Well, I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, and mainly because there's really not. When I say it's a really, really thin layer, I mean it's like a thin layer. Like imagine, okay, so imagine the planet Earth, right? Planet Earth is this blob floating in the universe, right? In the void, in the vacuum void of death of the universe, right? Where this with a little ball floating there, right? And if you zoom out and you look at the planet, you can see that there's the planet mass, and there's a little teeny tiny layer of this atmosphere that keeps us all alive and prevents us from being fried by radiation from the sun and swept up into the cold vacuum of space. Little teeny tiny layer. Like infinitesimally small layer. Like for us, it seems huge, but in the grand scheme of things, good Lord, it's like super thin. This is what coffee is like, right? Coffee is this big bean surrounded by this little thin layer of mucilage. So it becomes difficult to harvest that or use it in a food product. Now, how we have used it or how I have experienced it, I was in Costa Rica one year, and one of the producers that we know, my friend buys them. I don't buy from them, but really lovely family. We're hanging out. And what he was doing, he was taking his excess geisha. He would hull it and take the mucilage-laden cherry, put it into a water bath, and ferment, right? He's fermenting the mucilage in this tank, ferments it, and then distills it. So basically, he's geisha moonshine. That, my friends, is a very good drink. And I don't know if it was actually, it was tasty. It was clean and nice. I think it was nice drinking. And then I don't remember what it tastes like after that, because we drank a lot. Like this one night, we were there for a long time, just sipping. And we weren't hammering; we were just sipping. I guess it must have had good flavor. Sipping. And the one thing about me with like drinking like that in that kind of environment, and I can speak a modicum of Spanish, right? Consciously, I can speak a modicum of Spanish. But in that situation, mi español es muy fluido. Like, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if I make any sense. I don't even know if I'm saying like real words. But man, we were just talking. I don't even know how we made it back to the hotel that night. That was a good time. But so I don't know if there's much you can do as a food with. Now you can take you've probably seen this where you can take the hulls after you strip them from the beans, and then you could dry them out and make what we call cascara tea, so that you can then take the dried hulls and steep it in hot water or in water to make a tea. But I don't know if there's much utility in coffee as a food product beyond that. And Anton says, I only know of cascara tea. Yeah. An Asian says, made me think of the Ipudo, the ramen. The Ipudo ramen spot is pretty good. I went to Ipudo I went to the main location in Tokyo, the one that has the wedge-shaped building. Is that right? I think of the right one. I went to this one. I think it was Ipudo, and I know I've been to Ipudo, but this one, they had the tonkotsu style broth, and they had and it was a place where like women just didn't go to, because I think women probably think it's ridiculous. Like only men are there, so you get the ramen. And here's one thing: if you go to this place, right, they have multiple locations, but they have this big pot of like boiling pork fat. Basically, it's boiling pork fat, and they got a big tank for the broth, the tonkotsu style broth. And tonkotsu style broth is basically pork based broth, but they boil it with the bones so that it gets the cloudiness, right? That's what and then, but they put like the broth, then they put the noodle. The broth is pretty like rich, and then the noodle is pretty thick to stand up to the broth. And then they take some of the braised pork and they put that in there, and then they put on top of that, they put this, you know how they put the bean sprouts, right? Like places will put a little bit of bean sprouts. These people put like a dinner salad worth of bean sprouts on your ramen. You're like, what in God's name is this, right? It's all like 400 yen or something like that. They put this big thing, and then they put some more of the fat on top, and then they take the ladle full of the fat laden juice, or just the fat juice, whatever left, and you're like, oh my God. Like, that is like a heart attack waiting to happen. And it's massive. Like, this bowl is like this, and it's this tall, and you're like, holy. Of course, you eat the vegetable. You could get full on the bean sprouts, I think. And a good thing I was a lot more robust in those days, because today I couldn't eat that. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't finish that. But I ate it all. I ate most of it. I felt kind of bad, but that was pretty crazy. That's a pretty crazy place. But interesting to check out. Dev says people make cascara syrup. Ooh, that sounds like it'd be fun to put on with it. Maybe like a cascara, like iced tea. Marco says geisha moonshine, $400 a bottle, but so worth it, so worth it, so worth it. Actually, I guess you could calculate like how much did it cost us to travel there to drink it. That would be. And then Marco says alcohol from coffee waste sounds like a great opportunity. Oh, yeah. So of course the coffee has cooled down by now. This is the tuxedo black and white chocolate latte. It's still very pleasant. I mean, Ghirardelli has a very particular style of flavor. But it's still very good. It's very good. It's very good. It's very nice, very pleasant time there. So, and the nice thing is that we're in a place called Columbia, Maryland. Columbia is a suburban area between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Quality coffee here is very sparse in this area. Like, there's plenty of places to get coffee. Dunkin', Starbucks. There's some small cafes. But that's quality coffee is difficult to come by here. So now we have Boxcar, which is very good. Oh, and now we have the coffee house. That was pretty good too. And of course the food market, where I have my coffee there. So evidently it's growing. It's growing more. So at least if you come here, there is some respite from the horrors of suburban living. And don't get me wrong, I live in the suburbs too. So I when I say the horrors of suburban living, I'm experiencing that horror. All right, well, I guess that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to be back again tomorrow with more of the coffee Q&A. Tomorrow we're going to explore, we're going to explore a coffee that I'm working on. Since we're talking about geisha liqueur, it's going to be, I think we're going to explore coffee, our Irish whiskey infused coffee. I had to make a batch of it for a customer, and so I got a little bit left over from it. So I thought, let's go do some tasting with it. All right, so, and then maybe we'll do that. Neil was asking the other day about Turkish coffee. Maybe we'll do Turkish coffee later in the week. So that's going to be it for this week, or for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. going to be signing out here from Columbia, Maryland. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day out there, or a wonderful evening, wherever you are in the world. Kent, especially you out there. Naomi, good to see you. And back again tomorrow with another Coffee Q&A. Have a great one.